now that we have a 9-year-old in our life. It's been really fun to just offer her better nutrition, right, than even my other kids had. I mean, they're 26 and 20, so, you know, I wasn't thinking nutrition when they were little, so they were eating the common kid things, you know. And what's been really fun for her and for us is seeing how healthy she is now and how different lots of things are. Like, she doesn't feel like she's missing out on anything. Everything that we offer her to eat is similar enough to what her friends are eating that she doesn't feel like there's anything different, but it's all super healthy.
More than 73% of Americans have overweight or obesity, while more than 12% have food insecurity. America is getting heavier, sicker, and more isolated from each other every day. Our motto, Move, Eat, Give, reflects our belief that virtually every problem in America could be fixed if we took better care of ourselves and took better care of each other. Welcome to Interrupt Hunger's Move, Eat, Give podcast, where we talk with experts in exercise is medicine, food is medicine, and food insecurity. And understanding that knowledge isn't always enough to help you lose weight. Every other episode showcases someone who's lost at least 10% body weight to share exactly how they did it. Interrupt Hunger is a 501c3 nonprofit which helps you lose weight while feeding the hungry. Bring our free 12-week weight loss challenge and donate your weight program to the places you live, work, and pray. We fund our mission with sales from our Move, Eat, Give bracelets and clothing, so please visit us at interrupthunger.org to show your support. 50 meals are donated for every item sold to the nation's largest hunger relief network. So you get to look good while feeling good. Now on to today's episode. Quick show note before we get started. Interrupt Hunger is not affiliated with a company or products mentioned in today's episode by our guest, nor is this a paid endorsement.
Yeah, thanks for joining us today. We have Traci Brown from Boerne, Texas, one of my neighbors. She's going to take us on her own personal journey to health, but then also she's going to pivot and you're going to hear how she's helping others with their health now as well. And she's making a really big impact in Boerne. I just texted her the other day, I can't really go anywhere in Boerne without running into somebody that knows Traci. So I think this will be a really good conversation today. So with that, Traci, just kind of introduce yourself and tell us, if you won't mind, in this first little bit here, what's your family dynamics about, and what you do for a living, because I like setting the stage for those two things, because somebody listening, they could hear you or see you and think, oh my gosh, she's like my age and her family dynamics the same, or she does this for a living, and like they can relate to you and your struggles and your journey. So with that, just kind of introduce yourself.
Yeah, I love that. Thank you for having me. This is super exciting. I actually love telling people my story because I feel like it does make it more relatable. I love that a lot of the comments I get when people come see me is, I come to see you because you understand, you know. So I've walked in their shoes. I've been almost 250 pounds in my lifetime. So, and then now I'm on a personal journey to how healthy can I be by 50 is what I told Dr. Stahl. I said, that is my goal. I want to see how healthy I can be by 50. So I'm 47, I'm almost 48. Got about 2 more years there. So anyway.
Plenty of time.
Yeah. But I am a mom of 3. We have 2 biological sons. Blake, who's 26 and married to our beautiful daughter-in-law, Maddie, and they live in the Houston area. Colby, who is almost 21 and at A&M Loving Life. And then we are about to adopt our foster daughter. She is 9 years old and currently in the foster system, but she's soon to be a Brown. So very excited about that. So
that is so cool.
Yeah, we're really excited. It is a journey, right? Like, we were empty nesters for a little while and we're like, oh, we'll just get on an airplane and go vacation. And then we're like, God was like, no, I have another little job for you. So anyway, that's where we're at right now.
Both of our families' journeys are very, very similar. So yes. I think that's why we connected so much. Okay, absolutely. So great. So just take a few moments to tell us about kind of your struggle with weight and some of the, just the, from as far back as you want to go. Sometimes it starts in elementary school or middle school, but as far back as you want to go, and just kind of like what it was like for you before you decided to make a change, as far as, what it was like with your relationship with food, or how you were eating, or how it made you feel, and just kind of take us along this journey.
Yeah, so I wouldn't say I always struggled with, as a kid or a high schooler, I wasn't necessarily overweight. I wasn't like super thin, wasn't necessarily overweight, but probably I would say a typical high school kid. I played sports, so I ate whatever I wanted to. We live in Boerne, so we ate at, one of these local restaurants every day at lunch. And now if I did that, I'd gain 20 pounds just looking at the meal. But yeah, so I didn't really watch my food intake a whole lot growing up, and then went to college and just continued eating like I was still in high school, but then was not an athlete. And so that does not go well. And just coincidentally at the same time, my mom had passed away. And so the only person that would speak into that space, right, being my mom, it was gone. And so all of a sudden it was like Big Macs and supersized fries and things like that. And I didn't think anything of it. And so before I knew it, I was pretty close to 200 pounds, not quite, and then got pregnant with our older son, and gained, 60 pounds. And, it was just kind of a snowball effect at that point. And so knew nothing about nutrition at all. And so tried, the same things that we did in high school. Let me just stop drinking Dr. Pepper for a week and I'll lose 10 pounds.
Yeah.
That didn't work, or whatever the little tricks were, and knew nothing about anything. And so, it wasn't until my 20-year class reunion, actually, I had put on an outfit, and it was one of those moments where you're like, everything's on point, my jewelry's great, my outfit's great, looking awesome. Felt really good about what I was wearing, and then went to our 20-year reunion, saw everybody, it was a great night, and then a friend of mine posted some pictures on Facebook the next day. And I looked at the pictures, and I literally was shocked. I mean, it was like I was looking at somebody completely different than I saw in the mirror. And so this is probably not a thing, but I've coined the term for myself, like reverse body dysmorphia. Totally did not see myself as large as I was or as unhealthy as I was. That was really the worst part, right? So at that point in time, a good friend of mine was doing a program, kind of a packaged meal replacement program that had been around for about 40 years. And she said, hey, this works. Why don't you come do this with me? So I went and did it with her in 2015, and then lost 85 pounds, and just really felt like at that point I still knew nothing about nutrition, so just knew how to do the program, and but I felt like it gave me my life back. I felt like all of a sudden I was, because at this point I'm a mom of 2 boys, and they're very active and very into sports, and I would just watch their life go by. I would sit there and watch them play sports, or watch them zip line, watch them throw balls, and watch them have fun. I was not an active part of that. And so that moment when I decided to make a change was really like, hey, what kind of mom or what kind of grandma do I want to be? Who do I want to be? Do I want to be this person that is cheering the loudest on the sidelines, or do I want to be a part, like an active part of their life? And so when I lost all my weight initially, that was the initial decision, is like, hey, I am now an active member of my kids' lives. This is fun. This is who I want to be. I want to be an active mom, a fun mom. I want to be an active grandma someday, fun grandma. I want to do all those things. And so that became my why. So my initial why was weight. My initial why was like, oh my gosh, I can't believe I look like that. I need to look different. My why quickly became health. And so shortly after that, the same company that I had lost all my weight with hired me, and I became a weight loss coach for a couple of years in a clinic here in Boerne. I'm still just teaching that program, still knew nothing about nutrition really, and so, not a whole lot anyway, just kind of like little tidbits here and there, which started to bother me. So I was like, okay, I really want to know why this works or how this works, or not just can I get people skinny, but can I also get people healthy? So that became the focus. So in 2019, I paired up with a local doctor here in town, and we initially opened under that same program, but then it morphed into him saying, hey, if you'll go back to school and get a nutrition certification, I think this can take off. And so, and then it became an absolute passion of mine. So I love to learn, and I love knowledge. I love to know things. So going back to school for nutrition certification became nutrition certification, and then weight loss specialist certification, and then personal training certification. I was like, okay, how many more letters can I put after my name? Not because they're after my name, but because I just crave knowledge once I begin doing that. So
you got a taste of it.
Yeah, it's fun. It's fun. So the fun thing for me, the really fun thing, is in the last 2 years, I guess, our business has shifted completely from what was just a packaged meal replacement program, like, hey, if you just eat these 3 things every day and eat 1 real meal, you're gonna lose weight, to, hey, forget all that. Let's look at the quality of everything we're eating. Let's look at food. Let's look at nutrition. Let's look at actual diet, not a diet, but your actual diet. Like, what are you actually eating and how can we make that better? The other fun part is that now that we have a 9-year-old in our life, it's been really fun to just offer her better nutrition, right? Than even my other kids had. I mean, they're 26 and 20. So, I wasn't thinking nutrition when they were little. So they were eating the common kid things, and what's been really fun for her and for us is seeing how healthy she is now and how different lots of things are, like mindset, just focus, all these kind of things. And she doesn't feel like she's missing out on anything. Everything that we offer her to eat is similar enough to what her friends are eating that she doesn't feel like there's anything different, but it's all super healthy. So that's also become a passion of mine now, is teaching parents how to feed their kids healthier versions of food and get the junk out. I feel like there's so many things we can correct in the classroom or in the house with just nutrition.
I think about getting to the parents through the kids.
Absolutely.
Because you look at a lot of adults I talk to, like, it doesn't bother them, different parts of your life. Most of the people that lost a significant amount of weight, there was like an instant in time, a switch was flipped.
Yeah.
But when you focus efforts on your kid, like, you'll do anything for your kid.
Absolutely.
And so, but it's also like, you got life and it's stressful and it's busy and it's so much easier to eat processed crap.
Yes.
But then, like, you don't want to be, I know for me personally with Enz, our 6.5-year-old, like, I don't want to be like the ultra processed food Nazi, right? Like, I don't want to give her a complex at 6 years old, but it's a balancing act. It's juggling and trying to figure out just the right amount. Like, what is it about healthy? And like the other day, she turned something over before she started taking a drink. She turned it over and it had like red 40 in it. And she's like, oh, there's chemicals in this. I don't drink it. Like, give me water, Dad. I'm like,
Yes, that is the same conversation we have. Ours will say, did that scan well? Because we scan things and look at chemicals. But not to say that, last weekend at the father-daughter thing that Mike and she came home with a giant thing of cotton candy. I mean, she still has fun. We don't say, no, you can't eat cotton candy, But she did say, I probably shouldn't eat this whole thing. And we're like,
wow,
that's a great decision, So we love that. But it's just fun. It's fun that she's learning how much better she feels not having those things. And so every once in a while, we do let her have something, or just a normal day where you have whatever, and she notices it. She can feel that she's a little more hyper that day, or whatever it might be. You can't focus kind of thing. So that's been kind of fun. And that's what I work on with my adult clients too. My adult clients, I always tell them, I do not want this to ever be about food elimination. That's not anybody's goal. My goal is, I want you to choose to or not to eat something based on how that thing makes you feel. So do you feel good when you eat ice cream? Most people are like, no, I don't. I tell them all the time, I love ice cream. Ice cream does not love me back. It's terrible, So I'm not saying I never do. We sometimes go to the rim and have some, but it's in these super small slivers of the percentage of what I do in my life, So I tell my clients all the time, we shoot much higher than the industry standard. The industry standard is 80% good, 20% discretionary. And I tell my clients, look, we shoot for 90-10 because then that gives you a little bit of wiggle room and then you're still within 80-20, So shoot high. That way it kind of gives you a little bit more room to enjoy things, like we went to Disney and I did not think about food one time. So,
sounds like a good balance.
Yeah. We try.
So, like, basically today, why don't you talk us just a couple go-to meals for breakfast and maybe lunch, some snacks. Just talk about like what's a typical week look like for eating right now?
So I'm a big proponent on focus of protein. So we focus a lot on protein in our clinic. We do talk about calories. We do talk about, hey, how many calories do you need? Where are you at on that? But our number one priority is always protein. Protein is the most satiating macronutrient. So most of the time, if you're hitting your protein needs, the hunger is not there. You're not just ravenous all day long. We're so protein deficient as just humans. We're just so protein deficient that we're stealing amino acids from our muscle tissue. So we're losing muscle as we get older. We don't have to do that. People don't realize that. Like, we can look pretty darn good at 70 if we focus correctly, you know. So I tell people that all the time. If your primary focus is complete proteins, so you've got to know what you're eating, right? You've got to have a protein that has all 9 essential amino acids in it. So we talk a lot about that in clinic, because that is, those amino acids, those are the building blocks of your cells, of every cell in your body. So if you're eating complete proteins, you are forming muscle, you're protecting muscle, you're boosting your immune system, you're transporting nutrients where they're supposed to go, you're repairing cellular damage, you're doing all kinds of great things, plus you're not hungry. So it's just kind of all these great bonuses. So my personal breakfast is a little bit of coffee in my 20-ounce cup. I do coffee, and then I do 1 scoop of essential amino acids, which is, I'll explain this a little bit later, but it has the equivalent of the amino acids that you would get in about 30 grams of whey protein. And then I put an actual 32-gram protein shake in my coffee. So it's got that 32-gram protein shake, but then it's also got all of those amino acids that I would have gotten had I added another 30-gram shake to it. So it's really got, amino acid profile-wise, it's got essential amino acid profile-wise, it's got the equivalency of what would be like a 62-gram protein shake. So it's just feeding my muscles, and it is great. I love it. Keeps me full till I leave from work around 2 o'clock, and I go home and I have a normal lunch. It's usually like 4 or so ounces of meat with some veggies left over from the night before, or a salad or something like that. And then dinner is always meat and veggies. We've had meat and veggies for dinner probably since 2015, when that became kind of my norm. But it's always like, I think tonight is steak, and we're gonna have steak and, I don't know, broccoli or something like that. Some kind of vegetable, but there's always a decent amount of broccoli or something on the side, and meat, 6 to 8 ounces of meat at dinner. So my personal goal every day is a little over 150 grams of protein.
Okay. All right. Got it. What about like some go-to snacks? Everybody's looking, I was looking for healthy snack ideas.
Mainstream, like you can get out there where there's like Chomps beef sticks and stuff. A lot of people like those. We personally sell the brand First Form, and First Form has a beef stick that's got double the protein in it. It's got 20 grams of protein. So a lot of our clients eat those. I don't snack a whole lot, I will be honest. That was my previous life. I was kind of a grazer. We grew up in the 90s when there was that whole keep a log on the fire, eat something every 2 hours, whatever. Yeah. And our industry has since gone, maybe that wasn't the greatest idea, because we just created people who eat all day and we never give our gut a break, so I kind of got out of that habit a little while back. And I'll be honest, if you are hitting your protein goals every day, you're just not snacky. It's just different. It's different. But if you are snacky, we do suggest, some good nuts. Like, we give our clients lists of everything: cottage cheese, Greek yogurt, good quality cheese stick, a beef stick, things like that. Something with protein. We're always looking for protein.
I found my favorite snack like at 3:30 afternoon, like oatmeal. Just rolled oats, oatmeal, some frozen blueberries, and some raw nuts. Yeah, and that's just fantastic.
It keeps you going. That's awesome.
Yeah,
I love that.
That's good.
Yeah, and I try to work with everybody on what is your goal? If your goal is weight loss, then it's these foods. If your goal is, muscle building, it's these foods. If I've got a client who is about to run a triathlon, or he's actually going to do an ultra in September, and so he eats wildly different than the vast majority of my clientele, so it depends on our goal, and so I teach people how to read labels, and I'm like, you've got to read this label to see if it's going to meet your goal. It's here to meet somebody's goal. It just may not be your goal, so teaching them how to read those labels for themselves is important too.
Very good. Well, what about like exercise? What are you big on?
Yes, I love muscle building. I love strength training. So I am a huge proponent of resistance training, because most of my clientele is over 40. And once we hit 40, if we're not already working on building muscle, we're going to get behind the ball real fast. My favorite workout is resistance training. And I would say quickly after that would be Pilates of some sort. I love Pilates. I think it's a great workout, and it's much harder than I ever thought it was. And then we also love things like Zumba, mixed fit, those kind of modalities too. But, again, because we're over 40, we really focus more so on anything building muscle than cardio.
So for
specific.
you personally, when do you find time to fit in the exercise? And is it the same every day, or does it change?
It's the same 2 days a week. Tuesdays and Fridays, I am like, nobody's interrupting the class I have on Tuesdays and Fridays. The other days, I'm like, can I fit this in? Can I not? And so right now, I'll be 100% honest, I'm doing 2 days a week of resistance training, and I need to add that third one in, and I have not done it yet. Our life got a little more chaotic a couple months back, and so I've not figured out when that third one's coming in. But trying to hit my steps every day, that's a big one. Trying to hit a very bare minimum of 7,500 steps a day on up to 10,000 or more. That is something I do pretty regularly, and I will say that is also a form of self-care for me. So that's something I do that I'm like, hey, I got to put my shoes on and head back out the door with a podcast in my ears, because I just need something that's just me by myself, in my head and walking. So so I'm really big on resistance training, walking your steps, moving your body every day, and anything you can do to build muscle. That is my favorite.
I feel God, I am so off when I miss a workout now due to my day job or whatever it is. Yeah. But then especially if I've missed like 2 days in a row, and then the third day I get back at it, like it's just like everything, the trees are so much brighter, and the birds are singing louder, and like life is just good again. Yeah. Yes. That's cool. I
agree.
Cool.
I totally
All
agree.
right.
Yeah.
This is okay. So this has been good so far, but let's like pivot now, because you've been able to help a lot of people in these last few years, and it's pretty amazing. So just take us down that journey a little bit.
Yeah. So it's been fun. It's a lot of fun. When my passion became helping other people basically re-enter their life like I did, I felt like I got my life back, when I lost a bunch of weight. And so my passion became, man, how can I get moms back in their photos? That was one of my big things, is moms hide. They're not in photos. Or you'll see like this much of their face, in the back behind everybody else, or we're taking the picture. A lot of times moms are like, oh, I'm good, I don't need to be in the picture. Well, I can attest to the fact that when we are not here anymore, our kids still want to see that photo, whether we thought we looked great in that picture or not. So one of my absolute passions is getting moms back in their life. And it's really cool, because when I say that to people, a lot of times both of us will start crying, because they're like, oh my gosh, I haven't been in a photo in 5 years. Yeah, I mean, it's real. So when my passion became that, it became like, how many people can we help? So we paired up with Dr. Stahl over at Boerne Family Medicine in 2019 and opened a clinic, and it just blossomed, because with his support and my passion, it didn't have any other choices. Kind of cool. So it was really fun. We did initially start in that packaged meal type idea, and then, like I said, he challenged me to go back to school and get my nutrition certification. And so in the last 2 years, it's all been about nutrition. And so when he started prescribing GLP-1s, which is what, the Ozempic, Mounjaro, those compounded medications that are out right now, we decided, hey, we gotta come on board in like a nutrition space. And so what he was telling me is all of the research is saying, if you pair these meds with nutrition, then you don't see 77% of people rebound and regain all their weight. So that became a big deal. And so when he prescribes the medications, their clientele has to come see me for nutrition. And so it's been fun. So I would say probably over the course of the last 5 years, I've seen, I would say probably 2,000 or 3,000 people. So it is fun. It's so fun. Currently, I see about 400 or 450 people, and it's a blast. I love it. I love every single day. I mean, somebody said one time, find a job you love so much you could do it without getting paid. And I truly am at that point right now. I really don't even care. I just love what I do. I love talking to people all day long and changing people's lives.
I've seen some of the, I mean, your passion, it comes through loud and clear, but I love some of the pictures that you posted on social or your website that show like people hitting, different goals. Yeah. And just the smiles on their face. And I mean, there's a lot of pictures. So
it's really cool.
Pretty cool.
It's really cool. Yeah. It's a lot of fun. It's neat. The stories you
good.
hear are really cool. So
Yeah. So, like, it'd be neat. Like, talk to me about, like, you gave your own personal kind of before and after, like what it was like before you made the switch to get healthy. Like, what are some of the personal goals? Not asking you like, specific people, but like, what are some of the goals that they talk about? Like what they want to do, and then what's it like when they actually achieve those?
It's fun. Yeah. So I ask everyone what their goal is, and they always say my weight goal. And they're always surprised when I say, I don't even care if it has to do with weight. I just want to know, what is your goal? Is it health? Is it, a medical diagnosis? Is it getting off of medications? Well, what is your goal? It doesn't matter what it looks like. And I would say a very small percentage say it's just weight loss. I just want to be, however many pounds. Most of my clients say, I want to be healthy. I want to be confident again. I want to feel good in my clothes. I want to hit a certain percentage of body fat. I want to be able to run an ultra. I want to do these things. And one of the things I ask them all the time is, if you're thinking about yourself a year from now, what is something you dream of doing a year from now that currently your weight is preventing you from doing? So yeah, and it's a cool answer. I mean, it's neat to see. Like, one person one day was horseback riding. She said, I have not been on a horse since, whatever age. And she said, I can't wait to get on a horse again. So it doesn't even always have to do with a number on the scale per se. It really has to do with, I really want you to re-enter life. Like, I'm really passionate about getting people back in their life. So yeah, it's fun to kind of uncover people's goals. And then also they text me, they're like, oh my gosh, I didn't need a seatbelt extender on the airplane today, or whatever. And I love that. Those are my favorite messages to get.
It's a big deal.
So,
You can imagine. What about I can't imagine some of those moms that are comfortable getting their picture taken again.
Yeah,
that's got to be pretty cool.
It's really cool. It is really cool. And it's fun because we live in a small town, a lot of times I see it, a lot of times I'll see those photos on social media and I'm like, oh my gosh, I get so excited when I see those things happen.
Yeah.
I know you had asked me a while back how I define success, right? And so, I've thought about that ever since we talked about it. And I love defining success as really habit change. Like, how can we change your habits, right? Because I don't really care as much, like I said, about weight on the scale. If I can change someone's habits, then that changes not just their habits, but their kids' habits, and then eventually their grandkids' habits. And then it goes down the line from there. So then we've got generational change, which is really cool. So, because we see the opposite too, right? We see that generational weight also, we see people who eat the same thing that their mom and grandma and everybody else ate down the line, and everybody seemed to have a weight problem. So we see it go both ways. And so I tell my clientele, if we change your habits, then we change everybody's habits from you down. And it's really cool. It's kind of one of those moments where you see this light bulb turn on, especially in men, which is pretty cool, because they're like, oh wait, that's true. My family does do what I do, or do what I say, or model me. They're good models. So
I like saying like talking to folks about this, about habits, developing new habits. And it's kind of, I don't think until you actually start and you go through it and you talk to other folks that you really truly comprehend what that means. Like, oh, I'm just going to exercise more and eat better, right? I mean, that's what so many docs used to say. Hopefully they're not saying that as much anymore. But
not as
many.
Like,
if you want to change your life, like, you have to actually change your life.
You do.
I mean, it's not cliche.
Yes.
Like, you really do have to change the environment you live in, because it's so, if you don't, then once the motivation wears off and the spark wears off, then you're going to revert back to the old habits. So curious about, is it mostly individuals? Do families, do couples or families go at the same time?
It's mostly individuals, but what we see typically is really kind of cool, because it'll be one spouse or the other typically, but then the other one's like losing weight too, or getting healthy too. Like, they're kind of like, they come alongside, because just kind of everybody, we do things in pairs. We just don't necessarily always come here in pairs. So,
and it does make it so much easier when you're both like
Yeah.
on the same path.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
I agree.
Oh, that's very good.
Yeah.
Wow. So this has been good. Is there anything else you want to share with folks, either about your own journey or what it takes, some tips or just anything?
I would say, even if you think you know everything there is to know about nutrition or whatever, have a conversation with somebody. Have a conversation, sit down with somebody who's passionate about it, and just see if there's something we can tweak. Because a lot of times people will come in and they've got some weight to lose, and they'll say, I already know everything there is to know about nutrition. I don't even know why I'm here. Or I eat well all the time. I can't figure out why I can't lose weight. There's got to be something wrong, And that was me at one point. I definitely remember going to see Dr. Stahl and telling him, I want you to run all the blood work because there's got to be something wrong, because I eat really well, I work out all the time, and I can't lose weight, And I hear that all the time. And it's interesting because a lot of times once we just sit down one time and have a true conversation about nutrition, they get up, and when they leave, they say, I learned so much today. So I think a lot of times we got to remember the different decades of time we've all grown up in, right? We've all grown up in the low fat craze of the 80s. We've grown up in the low sodium craze of the early 90s, the keto craze. We've, all the things. We've gone through all these things, and I don't think it has to be any of those things. I tell people all the time, I don't think it has to be any one thing. I think we can eat pretty liberally. I think we can eat a lot of the things that we want to have. We just have to be very mindful, or get to a space where that's okay first. I tell people, if you want to lose weight, let's lose weight first, and then reintroduce some of those things that you love, and let's see where that threshold is. Let's see where the threshold of enjoyment stops and weight gain begins. Let's see where that is for you, because it's different for everybody. Some people can handle a whole lot more carbs than I can, and I wish I could enjoy carbs more than I can, but I just can't. But that's not everybody. Some people can enjoy a whole lot more, and that's okay. Our bodies are all different. And so I think that's why it's important to be open to sitting down and talking to somebody, and being open to saying there might be even just one tiny little thing that we need to just tweak a little bit, and it just makes all the little, pieces fall together.
Yeah, sure. Yeah. Like a lot of what you're saying is just developing a healthy relationship with food, right?
Yes. Yep, absolutely.
This has been good. All right, very good. So last thing, so like you're posting a lot of people get to see some of your successes and whatnot. Where can folks learn more about you?
Yeah, we're on Instagram and social media, and Facebook. We're Ideal Health Boerne. So if you want to look us up, that'd be awesome. And other than that, they can email me too. We can put that in the show notes if you want. It's Traci@idealhealthboerne.com.
Traci.
Traci, yes.
Got it.
A little different. I forget
right.
that's not the norm.
Yeah.
Yes, but Traci@idealhealthboerne.com. I would love to chat nutrition with anyone. So whether you want to lose weight or not, I'll chat nutrition. So I love it.
That's wonderful. Yeah. Well, Traci, this has been fun. Thanks so much for joining me today.
Yeah, thanks, Charlie.
This has been really neat.
Thanks for having me. All right.
Thanks a lot.
You're welcome. Bye.
Thanks so much for listening. Please rate and review the podcast on the platform of your choice so we can reach more people, and more people are recommended this podcast. And if you really liked it, the single best way you can help us grow is by telling your friends. Now, for all the legal stuff. The views and opinion expressed in this program are those of the speakers and do not necessarily reflect the views or positions of any entities they represent. For my day job, I'm an employee of AbbVie and appear on this podcast on my own accord and not in the professional capacity as an AbbVie employee. All viewpoints provided are my personal opinions and not intended to reflect those of my employer. If you have any questions or comments, please shoot me an email at jolly@interrupthunger.org. Let's go spread some joy, people.